Beretta M9A4 should have been the U.S. Army's newest handgun. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Trench Grenades channel. I am your host, the average Beretta M9 enjoyer that your mom said that we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, the purpose of today's video is I'm going to talk to you guys about my old friend, the Beretta M9A4, and talk to you guys about why I think it should have been the Army's newly adopted handgun, not the M17. Now, don't get it twisted. I am an M17 enjoyer, okay? I know that's going to surprise a lot of you guys. I'm just rocking this on a T-Rex Arms iron sight outside the waistband holster for the video, okay? But I am an M17 enjoyer, but I do feel like the Army should have adopted the M9A4 Beretta, and we're going to discuss it here today. Guys, if you enjoy the video, and if you enjoy the more self-proclaimed based, the more based content that we've been doing here on the Trench Grenade channel, all I ask that you do is like the video, comment down below what you want to see next, and comment, do you like the M17, the Glock 19X, or the Beretta M9A4? I'm guessing it's going to be a ton of Glock 19X votes and Beretta M9A4 votes down below, and not very many SIG M17s. I would probably tend to agree with you, but comment down below what you want to, or what you would have chose if you were the United States Army, and if you want to support the video or support the channel monetarily, there's going to be links down below so you guys can do all of those things. Thank you for supporting. I'll send you a link to the Discord server. Okay, first of all, let's talk about just magazines in general, okay? So when the Army went away from the Beretta, I'll just show you here's my best friend here. Hopefully you guys can see she is a used and abused Beretta, right? You can see a lot of the carbon in there. But when the Army went away from the Beretta M9A1, a lot of guys were upset because we have used it for like 6 or 7 years for me at the point when they switched over to the M17, okay? So the first major reason, point of contention, is parts interchangeability. If they would have went with the M9A4, they could have just kept all the magazines that the Army has used forever, right? All those Metgar magazines, all those Beretta magazines, and that would have saved the Army a ton of money rather than getting a massive contract from SIG. And with the creation of the M9A4 or development of the M9A4, they also created these improved magazines from Beretta. They're 17 rounders, okay? A lot of you guys know that the old ones, for YouTube, this is a 1-round magazine. A lot of you guys know the old magazines, okay, were 15 rounders. So Beretta caught up to the times and made a 17-round mag. So I do think that that would have been a benefit for training costs, where you could have just given us the 15-round old mags plus the new 17-rounders plus the contracted 18 plus 1 round Metgar mags, and you would have been in a better position. Just things to think about, right? So as far as magazines, when the Army went with the M17, they had to produce and buy a ton of freaking mags. Now, I know a lot of you guys are like, who cares? It's government money. Well, you should care because that's your tax dollars at work, right? But if they would have went with the Beretta, they could have had a ton of interchangeable parts, a ton of magazines that already existed in the world. And guess what? Now we would have had a better system, in my opinion, and a very reliable system. Let's get into reliability. We'll go back to the girl herself here, okay? Let's get into reliability. The freaking open design of the slide leads this gun, there we go, decock, leads the Beretta design to be extremely reliable. I can count on one hand the amount of malfunctions I've seen that were not training induced. When I mean by training induced, I mean we put a dummy round or an expended round that would induce a malfunction in the weapon to help a battle buddy learn how to do tap rack drills, okay? But with all that being said, the open slide design of the Beretta lends it to be an extremely reliable gun. So in my opinion, the Beretta is far more reliable than that of the M17 or even the Glock 19X. I know it's going to make a lot of you guys upset, but it's the truth. These things are insanely reliable. Right? I've never had a malfunction with this gun. And I don't think I ever will, to be honest, unless it's just negligence and I let this thing get insanely dirty. The Beretta M9 series of weapon is just an extremely, extremely reliable gun, and they look cool too. But they are the most reliable option as far as the Glock 19X, the SIG M17, and the Beretta M9A4. The SIG M17 is the most reliable option, in my opinion. Now that we've talked about reliability, let's talk about let's talk about weight. So the gun is heavier, okay? The gun is heavier. Boom, flag you guys for no reason. You're not actually here, and the gun is safe anyway. But I'm sure there'll be some FUD that gets freaked out. Oh my gosh. Okay. The gun is heavier. Now, why do I think that's a good thing? The average soldier, sailor, Marine that gets issued a handgun is not a shooter. Okay. So, where you guys already know where I'm going with this. For the average dude that gets issued a Beretta or a handgun in the military, because they're not a shooter, it's going to be a lot easier for them to be able to implement and employ a heavier handgun such as the Beretta M9. Now, I know that's not a good excuse because a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, they should just train around it. And, oh, what about the double action? We're going to get there. But the weight of the gun is actually reassuring. This gun feels like a gun rather than the M17 that just feels like a piece of plastic, or a Glock 19X that just feels like a piece of plastic. This, when you hold the Beretta, it feels like a gun, right? It feels like a gun, and because of that added weight, it is confidence inspiring. If you were to get shot down, or you were behind enemy lines, or whatever your position was, you were at risk of being a prisoner of war. The Beretta M9 in the hand is a lot more confidence inspiring than the Glock 19X or the M17, in my opinion, and it will be more reliable because if it gets shot or hit by shrapnel, being it is all metal, will make it a more reliable design for a infantryman's handgun. Let's get into that. So I was in the Army. Obviously, I was issued the Beretta M9, and a lot of guys would talk trash because they were old, beat-up guns. I think what the Army should have done is go with the G model only, okay, the decocker only, not do the FS, right? So this is a decocker only, so when I decock, I cannot keep it on safe. It will just automatically flip back to the fire position on its own. So I think what the Army should have done is adopt the Beretta M9A4, put an RMR or whatever you want on top of the gun, or just keep it irons because it's a backup fighting, tool anyway, right? An emergency fighting tool anyway. Just keep it irons and do G model only, and then spend more time trying to train your machine gunners, your whoever is going to get issued the gun, your medics. Spend more time actually training those individuals on how to efficiently utilize the double action, single action. And I'm going to train you guys on it right now. So the great Paul Harrell, rest in peace. Okay, he's an awesome gun tuber. He between him and Shaw Shooting, they don't exist anymore to my knowledge either. They used to teach guys this simple trick. Okay, it's called shaboom. Okay, slack and press, slack, press. So the way it works is shaboom, slack and press, slack and press. I don't really know how to articulate it very well. Basically, you're prepping, firing, prepping, firing. Now, a lot of competition shooters are going to see this and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't prep and fire because it's going to be slower." You're correct, okay? But to teach somebody on a double action, single action pistol such as this, or a 226 or whatever, you teach them shaboom, shaboom, shaboom. Saying that shaboom or whatever catchphrase you want will help you get more efficient with that shaboom, 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 with that double action trigger pull. Now, after that double action trigger pull, as you guys know, it then will go to single action every single time. The single action really cannot be beat on a Beretta M9A4 or a Langdon Tactical LTT. They're just extremely crisp and they're extremely consistent. But the problem is training operators or training soldiers, sailors, Marines, etc., to be able to go from that double action pull to that single action short, crisp trigger pull every single time. So I think where the Army should have invested, instead of going to a new weapon completely, should have just been invested in their people, invested in training, and made this the workhorse that we all know and love. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. But just understand, I am a Beretta M9A4 enjoyer. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that were in the service, right? Whether it be the Marines, the Army, Air Force, whatever. Let me know. What were your experiences with the Beretta back in the day? Let me know if you loved it, you hated it. I initially hated it, but then I grew to love it with further training. And I think a lot of guys did not get that further training while they were in. Back in the day, we used the M9, okay, the 92 FS, the Beretta M9, and we used the Glock Gen 2 for training, okay, and the 173rd for some of the shooting schools we did. The Glock 17 Gen 2s and the Beretta M9s, based on different reasons. One was lighter, one had a couple more bullets. That's the Glock 17 compared to the 15 round mags we used to have, but both were freaking awesome, right? Both were awesome. Both were great service pistols, and it just came down to one factor, that is training. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. I look forward to reading those. And until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average Beretta M9A4 enjoyer that your mom said that we have at home signing out. Cheers.
Wolverines!